Frank, thanks for joining us. What did you think of Ezra Taylor there?
I thought he boxed really well. I thought he's nice and composed. And then at the end, when he had to turn it on, he turned it on. And when any fighter watching that, when you're letting your shots go, the referee's got no alternative but to stop it, because nothing was coming back. And that's what you've got to think about. Just let him go, let him go. And he, I thought he boxed very intelligently against a tough opponent. McIntyre's a tough guy.
Well, look, we were talking about if it had gone a minute more, we'd have said, oh, it was great to get the rounds in for Ezra Taylor. Yeah, or second more. Second more. He's got the best of both.
Hasn't he? He's got the rounds in and he got a stoppage.
Let's talk a little bit about the main event. This is it, Frank. How are you feeling about this? Zhang-Joyce, Zhang, they run it back. Tell us your thoughts now. It's fight night.
Look, I mean, it's common sense, really. He can't do what he did last time, Joe. He's come in much heavier. Was he 25 pounds heavier than the last fight? He's not got a lot of head movement. He's not had a lot of head movement as a pro, and he takes a shot to land his shots. Unfortunately, last time I think he wasn't coping so good with the southpaw style, and once his eyes started closing, and Zhang's an intelligent guy, he was targeting that all the time, eventually he couldn't see. He can't get into that situation again. He's got to get out there, he's got to get behind his jab, he's got to be first, he's got to put the pressure on Zhang, and he's got to take him into the latter round. Because I think, I may be wrong, but I think in the later rounds, I think Zhang slows down a little bit. So that's for me is what I would do if I was his trainer.
And what did you make of the shape of Zhang yesterday? Because not only was Zhang-Joyce heavier, Zhang was heavier too. We've got 40 stone of heavyweight in there tonight, Frank.
Well, I just hope the ring stands up tonight. We might have to reinforce it. But no, they're two big lumps. I mean, massive. So it's going to be about half a ton in there, and they're fighting. So it's going to be interesting. But look, it's an intriguing fight, and everything's on the line for both of them. Because normally you'd say, like, the loser can come again. But how everything's going on at the moment, in as much that I think you will, or we will, I hope, get a unification. And immediately after that, if that happens, the relevant governing bodies will order then the mandatory. So it's the IBF, which is Hrgovic, and then it's the WBO. So this is for the WBO interim tonight. So the winner is the mandatory. The loser can be frozen out of fighting for the title for a good 2 years, because there's going to be at least 6 months in between each fight. So you've got potential at least 3 fights before a voluntary can come on.
At the age of them as well, 38 and 40, it feels like an awful long way back for the loser.
That's true, but the thing about Joe, he hasn't got a lot of miles on the clock. He's only had 16 fights as a pro, so it's not like he's been a pro for a long time. Look, he's capable, Joe. I mean, I want to see the Joe-Joyce that fought against Joe Parker, because that was an excellent performance. I mean, he got caught a couple of times again in that fight, because that's the way he fights. But I thought he really boxed well, and I hope he can put that type of performance again together tonight.
And the return of Anthony Yarde as well. Let's not forget, I mean, we wanted Ricky Summers. Of course, Ricky Summers pulled out late in the day. But the good news is we get to see in this same arena Anthony Yarde fight again.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to see Anthony back in action. He's got to get the rust out of his system. He's been out for a while, but comes through tonight, and then we'll be looking at sorting out a world title fight for him, or a big fight. For me, an ideal fight would be the winner of Buatsi and Aziz. Big domestic buster. A lot of money to be made by the fighters, and everybody will buy into that. But whatever happens, he's got to be in a big fight next time round.
Well, Denzel Bentley wants to be in big fights as well. Denzel, I mean, you've been talking about Nathan Heaney, Hamza Shiraz. What do you want, and anything you want to say to Frank?
I mean, I want another world title fight, but I know I've got to get through these fights to get there.
He should be world champion.
Yeah, well, that's it.
It's funny, we always can look back and be smart after the event, or the benefit of hindsight. But there's only those first 4 rounds where I think, my opinion, is that looking at those first 4 rounds, you let him have those first 4 rounds. Where I think you'd have got your foot on the gas then with your fight, as you showed. Yeah. But that's a lesson to be learned. because a lot of people going into that fight didn't give you an earthly. I mean, we fancied it.
Yeah.
So now the name of the game is to get you a big fight, which you will have by the end of the year, and then it won't be a world title fight, but you certainly will get one next year.
Yeah.
And there is, I mean, all the guys between them, you talk about, Nathan, you talk about Hamza, there's some great domestic fights there. And it's not the end of the world for the loser. And I mean that, it's not. You look at George Groves against, what's his name?
James DeGale?
The gold medalist.
James DeGale.
Yeah. You look at that, they both went on won world titles. It's not the end of the world. For me, it's big fights are there to be made, and the fans want to see it. And it's great experience, and more importantly, putting money in the bank.